And here we are. Okay, what is it? We're about 1 minute two. So somewhere out there in Facebook Streamland, we're actually there and live. Let
True.
me see if I can spot that, but we'll just believe it's happening, hey? But I am
That's it.
recording, so we're 1 minute two. We'll make a start. Uh, Welcome, Kirstin. So today I've got a very, very special guest. I've had a lot of special guests over the last really couple of months, but Kirstin Fahy, our guest today, is probably the person who keeps the wheels in motion and the engine running for eXp Realty in Australia. So not an agent, but a staff member who is head of our operations and all things agent services and everything to do with how the business operates and runs. So welcome, Kirstin.
Thank you. Pleasure.
That's good. So as I said, in operations, so today for this explain, and we do this explains every week to try and give agents who are watching an insight into how our company operates. We're very much about transparency. So we've pretty much divulged everything we do through these explains over the past few months. And this is just one more aspect to it where we're seeing just how things work in the back end. And as I said, Kirstin's probably the most important person to, or is the most important person to that. So, Kirstin, we'll start with easy questions. Like I said, you'll know the answers to all these questions, but we'll start with the easy ones. How long have you been with us, and why did you join at the time?
Well, it's a bit of a story there. So I got offered the job once I was made redundant at my previous employment. And so I took on the job, and that was just an onboarding specialist. And I have been with eXp, so be coming up 5 years this year.
Right. So always good to get offered a job when you've been put off or made
That's
redundant. It's always
that's
handy.
it. Yeah,
So
yeah,
5 years puts you almost since the beginning, given the beginning technically, I think was November 19. So
yeah.
we're about 5.5 years-ish into that, but it would have been very infancy, I suppose, and only a handful of agents at the time. Uh, so at that time, and doing onboarding. So you were probably learning what was going on and then trying to pass that on to agents. How was that at the start? Like, how or were you just making the system yourself and going, this is how I want to do it, and that's how I'm teaching it?
Yeah, well, basically, when I started, the onboarding process was they just sent out emails, a heap of emails. Okay. So I came in and I just sort of changed that and started doing Zoom onboarding sessions as well as the emails and then following up. So just recreating that whole onboarding experience and process. Yeah,
Yeah. So really, you started being a nurturer right at the start, rather than just pushing out an email and leaving them to their own devices. You
that's
started
it.
to really nurture, which still happens to this day. um,
Yes.
and how you work with our agents. I do know that. So in those years, I know a lot's changed just in my 18 months. What's changed? What have been the big things for you that have changed since that time?
There's been quite a number of changes. Firstly, I think it's the onboarding process. Okay. I think if the agents have a great onboarding experience, it just flows through. So we've been able to create an onboarding website. So it's a self-paced, and you can just go through the sections. And then also, if you want to have a follow-up Zoom session or in eXp World, we do offer that to run through any other questions. So that was like one of the process that have changed. But since we are only a young company, I suppose there's lots of changes that are always happening.
We know it.
Yeah.
But that's real estate, and in real estate, if you don't accept change, you'll certainly be left behind. And just watching a session that Rob did this morning about AI, and he's saying it's here. No more
Yeah.
no more wandering, you're going to be left behind. So these are things we all need to just keep changing and keep evolving.
That's
And
it.
what have been, I suppose, the biggest milestones that during that time, the things that you look back and think, oh, it was great to hit, but to hit that sort of milestone and that to be something that you've achieved.
Well, it's actually really hard just to point out one, because we have had quite a lot going on. But, there's been lots of stuff happening, but also there's still a lots of stuff happening in the background. Like I think our biggest win, I think, would be the REA.
Mm.
Like the support that we've had with them over the last sort of couple of months has been outstanding, and trying to convince our agents that, REA are there to support us. Mm,
Yeah, so that's something that's just new and obviously um, uh, something that we're rolling out right at the moment. That's a big change from the REA relationship we've had, and so you're right in the, I suppose, the coalface of these decisions and negotiations and relationships with suppliers. So how have you seen that change for you? And that's something that probably didn't exist at the start, but you're here now really driving these relationships that then reflect what the agents have available for them.
mm. Yeah, so it's trying to stay positive on every change that we have, even though sometimes you may not agree with those changes or like the changes. You have to see and weigh up the benefits more so and push it forward as a benefit, as a pro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and obviously when you've got hundreds of agents, not everyone's going to like everything, but we are,
Mm-hmm.
as is the mantra of the company, we are always trying to think of what's the most agent-centric decision to make. But certain decisions do need to be made, and it's great that we've got some of the recent ones that are really giving agents an enormous leap forward in their experience of what they're going to be having in their lives in business.
That's it.
So when someone asks you, Kirstin, what do you do?
What do I do?
What do you?
That's a big question.
You're down at the pub and you're talking to a friend, and they say, "So what are you doing? Hey, what goes on in your day? What do you tell them?"
It's actually very hard to explain. Like, it's just making sure everything runs smoothly. Any concerns, the agents can reach out, looking after compliance, talking with global, making sure all the projects are feeding through correctly, any updates, and, any changes. It's actually really hard to say, what do you do? It's not a
Yeah,
specific job or a role. It's just whatever gets thrown at you at that day, just to try and sort that out. Mm.
yeah. And you mentioned global, obviously, and I know I was on a meeting with you this morning at 7:30, and it's so be it
Yep.
because we are challenged with our time zone compared to the US and other areas. So when does your day, and your support of agents typically start and finish?
Um, some mornings when I wake up, which can be like 4:30, I have a quick check of workplace chat before I get up and go to the gym and just go, okay, I'm not going to look at certain messages, but if I know I'm waiting for an answer from global, I will check those messages because I know we need to get a response back pretty quick. So, this morning I was messaging someone in the US at 5 o'clock my time. So just so that way I had some answers or any responses I was waiting for. Yeah,
Yeah, we've only got a couple of hour window, and we need to get get to them and get some of them late work later, but get to them and get the answer back as quick as we can. Otherwise, it's tomorrow,
that's
and
it.
the rest of
Just
our day is
delays
left
everything.
wandering. Yeah,
Yes,
just yeah, and we don't like those delays, do we?
that's it.
When you work with a lot of people in all of our administration, and all of our admin are in Australia, and they're all in separate states. I think we've got three in Queensland, one in New South Wales, one in Perth, one in Adelaide,
Yep.
and me, and in Melbourne. So we're scattered. Um, how do you create culture and a staff feeling when, all of our lives we've been in an office or in a workplace. How's that been created, and what's that experience for you?
So I'm going to be pretty honest. When I first joined, I really didn't know how I would go in working from home because I was always such a social person.
Mm,
And but it's actually not too bad because we have this office in World, in our EXP World, where we can sit there throughout the day and people can come and see us. So, we are there for the agents to jump in, see us, talk to us, work through any issues. We have a lot of chats as well going. So we still keep that morale, the comedy happening in the background.
mm.
So it's no issues at all. I actually think working from home is more productive.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Mm,
interesting. And
yeah,
I've never really looked at it that way that, you say you're quite social at work in the past when you've had a workplace. And how does someone like that cope with not having a workplace anymore? But having these virtual worlds and communication, and like we are today on a Zoom, and we've had many of those in the past, I suppose fills the void a bit. And there's not a lot of lightheartedness, I suppose. We're all very much busy and doing
that's
that.
it.
But yes, it's good fun sometimes to have those moments and be a little bit more human, if you like,
That's
um,
it. Yeah.
and be like when we were in workplaces. And certainly, I was quite social, I suppose, at work too. But
Yeah. It's just having that office banter, I suppose. Like,
yeah,
and that's when now we just have it on a little bit of a chit chat and then we
yeah,
just get back to work.
we don't get to go across the road and get coffee or lunch,
That's
wherever
it.
that across the road may have been. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, What's something that agents may not realize about you and the support team that support them?
Well, probably the hours that we do. Not all of us work a 9 till 5 job. Um, some of us are online at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then they'll go and drop kids off at school, come
Mm,
back, start again, and then same with the afternoon as well. They go and pick up kids. So, they've got that flexibility, but then also they still get the work done. They could still be
mhm,
online at 7 o'clock at night. I know some of our staff have even jumped online on a Sunday just to catch up on what's going on over the weekend so they know that their Monday is going to be all planned out and sorted.
mm.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough. And that's
yeah,
something that, I know that an agent's life is almost 24/7. That's the way real estate is. Some of us manage it better than others. But having that support staff, and I know my own experience, um, 7 o'clock at night, there was no way I could call our admin front desk
yeah,
lady for support. It just,
yeah.
she'd gone home. That
That's
was
it.
you didn't have their. It was just it didn't happen. You'd call the director if there was some sort of a catastrophe or whatever, but you certainly weren't calling for those nitty gritty little support bits and pieces. And I
Yeah.
know that you've often answered people at different all hours, and that's something I think that for those that are thinking of that, one of the biggest concerns about an agent joining EXP or any of these cloud-based models is, is someone going to help me if I've got a problem?
Hmm.
And I
That's it.
think that if you've watched any of our explains, one of the things that is quite consistent through from agents answering to staff and right through is support. And we believe that our support's probably as good as it could possibly be in any cloud-based real estate company in the world. And certainly, for anyone wondering or concerned about support, I believe, and you could probably back me up, that probably should be the least concern.
That's it. Like we've got the licensees. So there's 3 licensees, okay? Then you've got 2 agent services people. Then you've got myself. And then the other ladies as well, transaction accounts. So, you can go to probably any one of those people and they'll be able to give you an answer, or if not, be able to point you in the right direction to get that answer.
And
Yeah.
one of the things about Kirstin and these other people is all of them have been in real estate and worked in real estate offices, and have quite a number of years' experience, not only years with us, but years out there in traditional real estate offices, be it trust account people or administration people. They're all got that experience.
That's it.
So they're not VAs that are doing multiple industries. They're real estate specific support and administrators who have been in the game for quite some time. That's really important to know for those concerned about support and backup.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. So someone is always there. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Um, just looking at some of those changes that you've made and been a party to or privy to. What's the ones that, apart from REA you mentioned, but what else has been the real standouts in those systems that may have come on that didn't exist at the start?
Yeah, so we've got the mentor program as well. Okay, so any agents that are relatively new, okay, they might fit the mentor program being a mentee. So then they
Mm.
get paired up with one of our mentors, okay, providing they're in the right location that we have a mentor. So there's that program. Um, there's lots of it's been lots of changes and lots of things. It's actually really hard to just point out certain ones. There's ever changing, like we've got our CRM systems. There's always new things coming out with them, new things coming out with RP data. So it's keeping everyone updated on that. And the whole compliance side of things as well is
Mm.
very important to make sure we're all covering off on that. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
think that answered your question
it's
very well, but
no, I know what you mean. And look, and things that we have coming, and like Learn Worlds, where we have more training
yeah,
available and coming, and the mentor program is very important because it all leads into this support conversation and this backup, and that as an agent, you're not on your own. You're in your own
yeah,
business as such. You are your own boss of your time and your listings and sellings, but you've got all of that machine behind you to support any challenge that you might have.
that's
Um,
it.
what do you think is the next thing for our systems and support? What do you envisage in the future, or what if you could have a magic wand, if you like? What do you think are the things that you'd like to see come in the next 12 or 18 months, say?
Wow, that's a big thing. I know there's a lot of stuff coming, but it's trying to um, get involved in it, I suppose. Yeah, it's actually very, very hard. I really think AI is a big thing.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of integration with AI stuff. Now, whether people can take on board with that, I'm not very familiar with it, and it is something that everyone, even from, I don't know, the person driving down the street, they're going to have to start getting involved in that as well, to be able
Yeah.
to keep moving forward with everything. Yeah,
It's one of those things like, can we do without the internet? No, we
no,
won't be able to. AI will be the same size thing. We won't be
yeah,
able to do without it. It will be just ingrained into our lives. And for real estate, and we've already seen much different, many different AI systems used. I watched a video from last week of the Alpha team AI chatbots where you can ask it a question about a property and it'll respond because it's got all the knowledge in there. And that one of our agents, Buri Son, has set this up for his listings, and just incredible what it can do for an
yeah.
agent when they're asleep, not
That's
at
it.
their desk or
Yeah,
not ready or whatever they're doing, but that this AI will answer their question. You could literally say to it, can I get the comparable sales for that property? And it give them to you. Can I make an offer or show you how? Can
it's
I do this form? And it'd provide the form. It was just, yeah, it's nuts
yeah,
what's there. And this is very, very start point. And yeah, it's exciting. But that's
yeah, and
something.
scary though.
Well, it's something that you, in your position, are probably going to be rolling out to our agents, some
Yeah,
of these systems.
And
So you
when
may
I
not know it
start,
now, but you're going to be teaching everyone how to use it.
and when I started with EXP, I was not very tech savvy at all. So I actually think I've come a
Wow.
long, long way.
I wouldn't have picked that, but yes. And sorry, I'm reading my notes here,
No,
so
it's
I'll be
all
reading
good.
them too. um, if EXP were a person, how would you describe its personality?
Oh, okay. That's that's
I'm
very
thinking
hard.
multiple personalities.
Yes, I know. I was thinking it could be like a bit like a Gemini. So, two
Well, yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think it's maturing.
yeah,
Okay. It's it's sort of still growing at its early stages, even though the company is quite large. There's always changes. And evolving basically. Yeah,
yeah. I think that, certainly, um, it's one eye on the agents and assisting and supporting their everyday activity, which is listing and selling real estate. But um, I know that for you and I, and for those in operations, where we're probably not that involved or concerned about the listing and selling of real estate side of things. It's how all of that comes about and how
no,
it's
yeah,
managed. And so we've got one eye. I still sell real estate, so I've got one eye on what the job is every day, but another eye on how the business provides that service to agents, because eXp is not a real estate company. eXp doesn't sell real estate. Agents, our
sell
agents
it.
sell real estate, whereas eXp supports agents. That's
That's it.
our position, or the company's position is agent services. That's what we do. So we don't hire agents and they're our employees and we're their boss and they go out and have to meet targets. That's not who we
That's
are.
no,
So it's a very different personality, if you like. Gemini was a
yeah,
good name for that.
that's
So,
me. I'm a Gemini too.
oh, there you go. You're saying you've got a split personality.
Oh yeah. Yep, very much
So
so.
we don't get. We mentioned we don't have an office, so we don't get out. We don't get to travel much. But recently we had 5 GrowCon conferences, and you went to, I think, 3 of them.
Hmm.
Perth,
Yep.
Sydney, and Brisbane. Only one was home ground. How was that?
It was absolutely amazing. Don't It was daunting going over to WA because I'm not very much of a traveler.
Yeah.
Okay, so but once I was there, yeah, it was actually great catching up with the agents and working with people for nearly 5 years, some of these people, and not even meeting them, only ever chatting to them on the phone or over a Zoom.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like you knew the people, okay,
Yeah.
even without actually physically meeting them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fascinating. Yeah,
yeah.
it's fascinating. And you obviously, I suppose there was the support person also at those conferences, making sure the day ran smooth and everything like that. And that's probably not something you've not done before.
No,
No.
no, no. But I've
Like
run many kids' birthday parties.
a Well, like a duck to water, you did a brilliant job. So, we thank you for that. And those, conferences are something that are in our future. So look forward to maybe, little bit more travel. I'm not that fond of aeroplanes and going to Sydney and places either, as you know.
That's it.
But, that's something that, is in our future. We look forward to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for anyone watching this, we're talking about that back end type of thing in our systems. Um, what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining, perhaps watching this video and wondering, how it's going to work once I leave my office environment and go work from home and be an independent agent? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, it can be very daunting, okay, but we are here every step of the way. So, it's actually being open with us on what your expectations are, okay? So that way we can guide you through what you actually want to concentrate on first, okay? So we have some agents that come over that are more focused on getting their listings online than actually physically doing the onboarding. So, we actually reverse everything around and we just make sure that their listings are all sorted first, getting them transferred over, and then we go back and do the onboarding. Okay. So, it all depends on when the agent joins on what's their requirements. But, I actually think the joining agents, or if you are looking at joining, I think you get more support here than what you would actually in an office.
Yeah, and it's almost like you're not even sharing support, where you feel like you're sharing them in an office,
That's
because you
it.
are contacting you one on one. No one else is in the room to interrupt or to get distracted, or the phone doesn't ring or anything like that. So you do feel like you're getting much more one-on-one support.
Yeah,
And certainly, if you're an agent that's coming to us, Kirstin mentioned getting their listings across. These are obviously agents that have existing listings that they're able to transfer to eXp when they move, which happens, and we can help you through with that. But they're the sort of things that, as an onboarding team, that Kirstin manages, being able to flip it on its head and just make sure we tailor that first few days, weeks to the agent and get their needs. Because you mentioned you might not be so tech savvy, but we know that, and the same for agents. Some of them come to us and they're pretty good tech savvy. They might have sat in front of the computer and the CRM for 10 years and they're pretty okay. But then there are others that, that technology is not their thing. And so we have to help them in other ways.
that's it. That's it. Like, if we do have one of those agents that do come across that are having listings bring over, that's where I would step in. And make sure all the transitioning and everything is done. So it's a smooth transition. Okay. So that way I'm on top of everything. So I suppose that falls into my role. I suppose when I said I don't really know what my role entails, but that's where I sort of pick up and just make sure everything is running smoothly. I touch base with them, keep them up to date with what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kirstin. I think we're covered enough. I'm going to just check I haven't asked you another 74 questions. Um, as far as agents that, we just mentioned, if you're joining us and what to consider, what would you say, where would you go to research us and find out the most you can about eXp? What would be your process to figure out who we are and what to do?
Well, I would say Google. Okay, Google eXp. See what there's any reviews. Phone some of our agents.
Mhm.
Okay, have a chat with them directly. Reach out to the licensee, probably to discuss what options there are for you,
Mm.
and what best suits your business structure. Jump on the website, download our brochure, see what we're all about. But
Mm.
yeah, give us a
I think
call.
it's critical, certainly if anyone's watching this because an agent said, hey, go watch something like this, go back to that agent and ask them more questions. And as Kirstin said, call any of our agents. I think I can only imagine. I think that any one of them be ready to have a chat to you and give you the ins and outs, the good and the bad, whatever it might be. You can quiz them. We only usually get asked about, where the gaps are perhaps, but ask agents because they're doing it every day, and there'll be agents that are in your city, close to you, that you can
Yeah,
call and you can probably go and have a coffee with, and pick their brain. And I'm sure all of them would be happy to, share their time with you and, give you an insight from an agent's perspective. And, I can give mine, but I'm staff, and you can give yours, Kirstin. But,
that's
you're in
it.
your particular role. It's not being an agent every day, and I know the concern. So, you know, watch more of these videos. Go and ask any of our agents. There's plenty of stuff online.
Yeah,
You'll get lost online because, as Kirstin mentioned, we are a very large company, 26 countries now, another one coming very soon, that is in the APAC region. But, we've got 84,000 people you could call and say, how's it work for you?
that's
But
it.
probably just find someone in your suburb or in your city, certainly, and ask them. But so thank you so much. See, it wasn't as bad as you made it out to be. All over in 30 minutes as
That's it.
planned.
Yeah.
And look, we'll have you on again one day. Don't you worry about that. But thank you, Kirstin, and thanks to anyone watching. Any questions, as I said, reach out to one of our agents, reach out to any of our licensees. Happy to help.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.